What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
I am Tom, the OG Fig Kid, aka the staple of the Turnbuckle Debate.
We have a special guest on, a returning guest from the CHICK FOLEY Show. We have Seth Phelps. Seth, man, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to get a return booking or if it was going to be ECW one night only for me with you guys. So glad to be back, man.
You're a first two-timer. It's awesome to have you back.
Yeah, man.
Well, Tom, the big news around the Tavern is that we had our new show, the Turnbuckle Sessions, which is your show, come out, and we had our first episode air with Nick Aldis. But share a little bit about that with everybody.
So yeah, the first episode dropped this past Wednesday with the NWA champ Nick Aldis. He actually had some cool information on his thoughts and explaining the budget cuts of WWE. Actually, this was filmed a couple of weeks ago before what happened this week. So he explains why that's happening. So yeah, it's a really good interview.
It shines a lot of light. What you talked to him about was very interesting, especially with what happened last week with the recent releases.
Yeah, it really makes you think everything happened in the last couple of months that they're leading up to a sale. If they're trying this hard to get the budget, the profit increase up that high. So something's going on up in Connecticut. So we'll
talk about that here in just a little bit. Now, in a couple of days, we have another episode dropping on Wednesday. You want to give a little preview of that?
Yeah, you get to hear me sit down and talk with Sam Roberts. We're going to discuss the state of wrestling today, and you can find out if Sam is collecting AEW figures or not. See where he's standing.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's a good talk. It's definitely a good talk. Sam's a good guy.
Yeah, so be on the lookout Wednesday, the Turnbuckle Sessions with Tom and Sam Roberts. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and for the uninitiated, Seth, those who do not know, give us a heads up on CHICK FOLEY. Let the listeners who aren't privy know about the CHICK FOLEY Show.
Yeah, so it started off just as an Instagram account based off of a drunken night of bar crawling the night before WrestleMania 31. My wife, my lovely wife Sheena, was in full Cactus Jack wear. She had the sleeveless flannel shirt with the Cactus Jack shirt on, and some British guy goes, "Hey, it's CHICK FOLEY," and the nickname just stuck. And that weekend, the very next week, she made an Instagram account just posting cool photos and just random stuff, sharing her love for wrestling. And it wasn't until a few years later that we got the idea to start up a podcast, and it's kind of a little bit of a catch-all. We talk about the current product. We go deep into wrestling figure and wrestling memorabilia collecting. And then we also like to do some other fun stuff like providing retro wrestling recommendations, finding some random merch just from, the dark corners of eBay and other spots online. Like last week, we did a deep dive on WCW toothpaste from 1999. I don't know if any of you guys were brushing your teeth with that back in the day, but it's all kinds of fun stuff. And it's turned into a whole little community online on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, hit us up. Just search CHICK FOLEY Show. Basically anywhere you can find podcasts, and give us a listen.
That's awesome. I've never heard the story about where the name CHICK FOLEY came from.
I was getting ready to say that too.
I haven't either. That's great. I always wondered.
Yeah. So yeah, we were just it was the WrestleMania that was in San Jose, and there was a like a little kind of hipster neighborhood right by the stadium. And it was the same place we were staying. And yeah, we were just walking. We call it the Mania Mile Bar Crawl because it was a mile long stretch, and it was me, her, our friend Jordan Wells, who you guys know, and his wife, and we just hit every bar on that mile that night. And yeah, it was some British fans who just yelled out, and it stuck. We were calling her that the rest of the weekend, and then next thing you know, there's an Instagram account and 20,000 followers later, and 100 and some odd podcast episodes. Here we are.
That's awesome.
That's so cool,
that's great.
Man. Well, we're glad to have you on. We're glad to be a part of the Pod Foundation. So if you guys aren't privy to what the Pod Foundation is, it's us, CHICK FOLEY Show. Pyramid Wrestling and the Extra Cooler Show, just 4 amazing shows. Well, 3 amazing shows in the Tavern. I don't want to throw us in there.
Yeah.
Under the amazing banner, but yeah.
Yeah, go find it at Pod Foundation on Twitter, Instagram, and it'll keep you updated on all those great shows.
All right. So we are here to do some debating. We have 3 new topics, and I think it's probably time we get into that.
Yeah, let's dive in, man.
All right. So our first topic of the evening is it time for Cody to make a major change?
Yes, I think it's time for Cody to play up to what the people are making him out to be and just take it over the top. Just go all the way with it. Like, just exaggerate it. Like, everybody's accusing him of this and that. Let's go with it, Cody. Let's ride it out. I think he'd do a great job with that type of a character right now.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even think he really needs a major change. I think, just like Tom said, he just needs to kind of lean into what he's already doing, because some of the best kind of like character archetypes in wrestling to me is the heel who thinks he's a baby face. You know, let him just be the delusional heel. Like, in his mind, he's the number one baby face and everybody loves him, and just lean into it. You know, the over the top fireworks and just all the pomp and circumstance he has around just about everything he does. Like, turn it up a few more notches and just really turn the live audience against him.
Yeah, the Kurt Angle recipe.
Exactly.
Like, you know, I think it's time for a change. And I'm a person who's defended Cody for people who kind of compare him to Triple H, because I don't think he's done that. As far as, he is winning matches that I think he shouldn't have. Case in point, the one at Double or Nothing, I thought Anthony Ogogo should have went over. But at the same time, you know, that we're not talking about a guy like Triple H who's putting himself in the main event after event. He is right now kind of riding the mid card, which is odd. For the last year, his last big storyline, I would say, was MJF, maybe. Like, and I think AEW really started with him in these long-term stories, and I think that's where he's best. I mean, to me, his 2 best stories in AEW has been the feud with Chris Jericho and the feud with MJF. And ever since then, he's kind of been floundering. And I think that floundering is created by himself. I think he is stepping back to let other guys step up into those top tier positions. And it's kind of became stale. And it was honestly noticeable at Double or Nothing. I would say out of every person that came out, he was the one that I was most surprised by, that he didn't get a pop like I thought he would. Like, you could tell the audience was split. And so I think it is time for a major change. And I honestly believe, if I had my Booker hat on and my prediction hat on, I think they're gearing him up for a match against Sting. And if they do that, I hope they turn him heel. I think the Double or Nothing run with Sting was a test to see if he still has it in the ring. I think Cody has wanted to wrestle against him since they signed him back in December. And I do think that match is going to happen. I just hope, if it happens, they don't do this respect 2 babyface type match. I hope they turn him completely heel, like Seth said, and make it, and like you said, Tom, and really make him buy into all the Twitter negativity that people say about him and just lean into it.
Yeah, they get started off with the respect, and somewhere along the way, Cody snaps and loses it, even if it's at the match, and that's what turns him. But you also forgot about Cody's little run with Brody Lee. I think that was the last good thing. Yeah.
But it wasn't
was
that
really
long.
awesome.
It was a little, it was a month, but yeah, it was phenomenal too.
Yeah, I felt that wasn't long enough, but unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't think that Cody needed a change. I liked what he was doing. But honestly, like you said, until Double or Nothing, man, when he came out, it was very lackluster when he came out. The pop from the crowd, it just didn't seem like they were as into what Cody was doing. And it was kind of at that moment, I was like, you know what, this guy really needs a change. And I'd like to see him go just full blown heel, you know, and I thought we were going to get that at one point when he came back after believe it was after the dog collar match. He was gone for a little bit and came back with the dark hair.
Yeah.
When he came back with the black hair, I thought we were going to get that. But I think the perfect time to do it is now. And I think the perfect way to do it is to have him go the old school Anderson Rhodes route and have him turn on Arn.
Yeah.
If we really wanted to go, postmodern, we have such a smarky audience with AEW. Let's bring back Stardust, man. Could you imagine the nuclear level heat from the AEW audience?
Oh, they would hate
if we see Stardust. And if you guys have listened to the Chick Foley show at all, I'm not a big Cody fan. I kind of roll my eyes at the big entrance and the way they announce his birth and stuff. I just feel like they present him as being the most important thing going when there's other cooler things happening in AEW. But I'm a Stardust truther. I think the most interesting Cody Rhodes has ever been was his run of Stardust. That's what I was the most entertained by.
I love it. I love it. That would get the crowd hot, man. You want to piss off the AEW faithful, have him come out as Stardust.
Can you imagine?
I too enjoyed Stardust though.
I did too.
I didn't hate Stardust at all.
He worked it, man. He had they made a little mini faction with him and the Ascension at one point. They were feuding with Neville. I thought there was some cool stuff there. I don't think WWE realized really what they had when he was doing the Stardust gimmick.
Yeah, I always thought they should have turned when Stardust and Goldust, they should have turned Stardust against Goldust and had the Rhodes feud right there. I mean, boom.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun.
Now I will say with Cody needing a big change, I think something he needs also is time away. I think if he keep him off of TV, not for a couple weeks, keep him off of TV for like a month or so and have him come out at All Out or something, or right before All Out, have something to where I love the idea of him taking some time off, coming out, turning on Arn. You flip the whole Horseman Rhodes feud, put him in the heel position, put Arn in the lovable babyface position, have him turn on his manager, and then maybe disrespect Sting in a way, in a shocking thing, and really just stick a dagger in the heart of all those Cody just lovers, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah. And you just knew when he was announcing himself as the American Dream, there was no chance he was losing a Double or Nothing. There was no way. I just knew it as soon as they announced it. He's going over.
That entrance gear was ridiculous. Also, you're not dropping that kind of money on your entrance coat to be looking up at the lights at the end of the match.
Right.
But Seth, we know you can't wait for the figure of that.
It will be a cool figure. I'm always, sometimes I feel like I'm watching wrestling just to kind of guide my wrestling figure collecting. So it will be a cool figure. I'm already, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Ringside Collectibles exclusive by the end of the year, knowing Cody.
Oh,
I was going to say Patriot Cody.
Yeah, he's got the LJN coming out now. It's like, man.
Yeah, why is he the first guy getting an LJN? You know
right.
what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And here's my thing, man. As much as I hate on Cody, that's all in kayfabe. Like real talk, I think that it probably is either him or Triple H is like the most influential wrestler of the last 15 or 20 years, just based on everything that he's done, making AEW happen. I don't think AEW would exist if it wasn't for Cody. I think the Bucks and Kenny either would have went back to New Japan, or I think they would have took the paycheck and went to WWE. I think Cody was the driving force that really made that happen. So I got all the respect in the world for everything that he's accomplished in the wrestling industry. I'm talking strictly about the Cody character on screen. That's what kind of, gets me riled up.
No, dude, I'm in the exact same boat with you. I've told these guys about Cody before. Like, I'm not his biggest fan, but the respect, like what he's done, you just can't argue it. Like you said, AEW is not AEW without Cody.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, I think sometimes my love for him and what he's done for the business in the last 3 years sometimes lets me give him a mulligan for certain things he does that I would probably shit on other wrestlers for. But I do think that he earned my respect more when he decided to leave WWE, when he wanted to bet on himself and he requested his release. And I saw how much he was busting his ass from going to Impact, going to ROH, going to New Japan, joining the Bullet Club, how he was just hustling. He says, do the work all the time. And the guy That's when my opinion of him transformed, because honestly, in WWE, I was never like a Cody Rhodes guy. I thought he was serviceable, but living in the shadow of Dusty Rhodes is a hard thing to live in. And I never really took him completely seriously until he left the company and just started putting in the work on the indie scene.
You never took dashing.
Yeah,
Cody
no, I
Rhodes
was never a
in.
dashing Cody Rhodes guy.
Now, Tom, you really hated it that he was calling himself the American Dream, didn't you?
Yeah, I wasn't happy with it. I mean, Dusty Rhodes is the American Dream, in my opinion. Nobody deserves to be the American Dream. Even my wife said it. My wife's watching the pay-per-view. She's like, how can he call himself the American Dream? I know he's his son, but Dusty Rhodes is the American Dream. My wife grew up watching Dusty Rhodes too. She wasn't happy with it. But, he did it, and it's over now. It was one night, really turned into 2 nights only because they introduced him on Friday on Dynamite. But it's time to move on.
That extra dream is tearing him up.
Yeah, that extra night. He promised one night, and he gave us 2.
One night, he said it twice.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get to see any polka dots, man.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I wasn't big. I wasn't against it. I was like, okay, he's going to honor his dad for one night. But looking back on how they used it, it seemed like a waste. Like, that's what you wasted, bringing out the American Dream, this special moniker that, like Tom said, has all this history, and that's the match you're going to do that in. I thought, hindsight, it didn't fit. Like, you didn't need to do that.
He could have saved that for, whenever he finally gets another shot at the AEW championship, busted out for that one, hit a,
Right.
I'm doing this one for you, Dad, give that speech, the Dynamite before, and then you get everybody behind him. But
Yeah.
I agree. I'm ready for heel Cody. I think people, myself included, would love to see him get his ass kicked as just kind of a little snot-eating heel.
Oh, yeah.
And heel Cody might turn out to be so good, people just wind up loving it. I could see that happening with the way he portrays it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's tailor-made. Like Seth said, with that entrance, if he leans into that and comes out, I mean, he is just going to be just detested. Like, people will hate that guy.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on to our next topic of the evening. The next topic has to do with Tony Khan, and we want to know, was the Tony Khan call out of WWE and Nick Khan cool or cringe?
Seth, why don't you go first?
So as a fan, I liked it. I was entertained. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. From an actual like business standpoint, like competitive wise, I think you got to take the WWE route of just not even acknowledging the competition. I still think that's the best way to go. Let AEW exist in kind of its own thing, and just, because really WWE is doing a good enough job on their own, making themselves irrelevant with how bad the creative has been over the last few months. So there's, we get it, Tony. It just seems I feel like I got what he was trying to come across as, but I think to a lot of people, he probably just seemed like he was insecure and felt like he had to speak on it. It seemed, I think I saw some people on like Reddit and stuff that were calling it saying like, oh, he must be panicking. I don't really think that was the case. I think he was just a little bit insulted at how big of a deal that everybody was making about, WWE having talks with New Japan when, like he said, he's already been doing stuff with them for months.
Yeah. I completely agree that I completely agree that it was cool from a fan perspective, but I thought it was cool from a business perspective too. I'm a fan of Dana White and the UFC. And the one thing I've loved about Dana White and the UFC, this isn't like the commissioner of the NFL. This isn't like MLB or NBA. This guy comes out and says, fuck you. We're here. We're going to take over. I love the bravado. I love that they're this outlaw company. AEW is the little guy in the arena. They're the underdog. They're backed by predominantly, it all started from fans who were disgruntled with WWE. It was people who were buying into BTE and the Bullet Club, and they were fed up with the WWE product. And they've kind of got that outlaw mud show mentality that Jim Cornette likes to call them, the outlaw mud show. But to me, I loved it. I was like, yes, stick it to them, call them out on it, make it seem ridiculous. And I love the fact that he even came out in an interview later and said he called New Japan before he did it and spoke to them and was like, I'm going to do this. Is this cool? And they loved the idea. So the fact that New Japan loved this idea lets me know that these talks aren't as serious as the press was letting on, and especially the fans were biting on, because if you know New Japan, this deal, I just can't see them being like bending over for WWE and making it exclusive. Now, I do think they would work for them, but the fact that WWE is trying to make it exclusive, I don't see New Japan ever doing that.
Well, the truth is WWE only reached out to them was to try and book some dates for Daniel Bryan to go over there to satisfy his want of wrestling other places. And all of a sudden it blew up into what the media and the dirt sheets blew it up into. There was never really any serious talks about doing a strong working partnership. So it's just a lot of what to do. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it because I grew up, loving WWE. And back in the day, you didn't mention any other promotion. They didn't take shots. And when they finally started taking shots at WCW, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So
it was crazy. I remember that. The like the Huckster and Nacho Man skits.
The Nacho
like, oh my
Man.
God, what is going on here?
Billionaire Ted. I mean, so to see Tony come out and do that and fire some shots back, I'm hoping the WWE was going to come back and do something back. But instead, to make themselves relevant, they just go out and release some of their best talent that's not being used to get themselves in the press. But it's just, I know you keep hoping it's going to do something. But at this point, there's really not much hope for what WWE is going to do, especially as you'll see in our next topic, their next debate. Like if there's really planning a sell off of the company, they're not going to be starting to take shots at another company right now. It's just going to be left unsaid and nothing's going to happen.
I thought this was a lot of fun. Now you sent me this video, Tom. We were at Dynamite.
Oh, dude, I was so happy when I saw the video. You know that. I'm like, you have to watch this. Whatever you're doing, stop and watch this now.
Yeah,
that's
like
exactly what I said to you.
I'm sitting there watching. Tony Khan had just come out on the stage to talk to everybody. You send this video. I have my phone to my ear listening to this video, and I loved it. And I think it's, I think it's fun to see Tony Khan play this character too.
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing Tony amp up this just persona that he has on Impact when you see him do the commercials, and to see him come on and do something like that, it just seems like he's having so much fun, and it's just a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and I don't take it as fans are saying it makes him look insecure. I think he's just having a ball.
I think he had a couple drinks in him, man. I think he seemed very loose, man. He seemed very loose on the video.
Like that video to me is him. It just seems like he's sitting around with Tony Schiavone and the boys in the back, probably having some drinks at the Daly's Place open bar. And he's like, you know what? Let's shoot something. I want to say something about this. It just felt like, I love the stir of the pot mentality. Like they've got their deal. They've got their money. They're signing talent left and right. I don't really think they're concerned with truly competing against WWE. I honestly do think they're kind of doing their own thing, and they're not worried. They're not having Raw and SmackDown and NXT on the monitors while they're planning their shows. I feel like they're truly just doing their own thing. And it just felt youthful to me. It didn't feel like this buttoned up corporate. Well, we shouldn't say that because sponsors will be unhappy. No, he's our age. He's getting out there and he's just letting the shots fly. And what is so wrong with companies taking shots at each other? As a fan, I have no stake in the battle. I love watching these companies shit on each other. Like, please, like Tom said, Attitude Era, the Huckster, all of that stuff when the DX tank. I mean, that's what you live for, man. Bring that out. I want to see WWE come out and shit on AEW. Let's do it.
But I mean, telling you, I kind of thought Tony did it also, like, he loves wrestling. He loved WWE. I think he was trying to push their hand to make them do something. I feel like he wants them to strike back. He 100%. Wants them to better their product. He doesn't want them just being mediocre. Wrestling is better when everything is good. Yep. And he knows that. If WWE got better, it's going to bring more people into watching them that'll then discover AEW.
Yep.
He knows that.
Competition's good for everybody.
Yes,
I think the problem is that, AEW, they're trying to be the best wrestling company in the world. I don't think WWE is even really a wrestling company anymore. Like, I'm sure we'll get to in the next segment, but at this point, they're more of just a media company. They're all about just producing as much content as possible.
Yep.
Just get the eyeballs out, get the YouTube videos out there, have a constant stream of stuff on social media, and just get the eyeballs on it nonstop as a way to get some advertising in front of more people. Because they just they clearly do not care at all about creative right now. Anything outside of the Roman verse is just straight garbage right now.
Yeah, they're definitely concentrating on the E instead of the W.
And not even the E. Like, it's not entertaining.
That's true.
It's not
You're not wrong.
Like, there's a handful of stuff that's watchable on their product, and NXT's a great pro wrestling show, but even there, it's like it feels stale and packaged. When you compare it to NXT of 3-4 years ago, there's no question.
It's depressing.
It's not
man.
the same.
2015, 2016, NXT was just incredible,
on fire.
Man.
Incredible. Best product.
Yeah,
But
and
you going
it's
back-
not the roster, because the pay-per-views still deliver. I still look forward to the WWE pay-per-views. They're always, pretty solid shows, or at least a fun night of wrestling at the least. So it's just the weekly TV, man, is just horrible.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so true. If you wanted to be a WWE fan, your best route right now would be just to watch the monthly pay-per-views and don't look at the TV, because the pay-per-views are always solid. From except for WrestleMania this year, they put on a good pay-per-view still. It's still a very good show every month.
Yeah, it's never about the talent, man. Like, all of my feelings toward the talent is I love them, but I just feel sorry for them. Like, some of the shit they have to do through booking, I'm like, dude. And I heard Mickie James today on Busted Open Radio, and she's in tears. She's crying because she wanted so much to do something in that company, and she said they get one track mind on one thing, and they won't listen to anything else. And she's like, here I am, the last 3-4 years of my career, some of my best years I have left, and I'm strictly just like jobbing people out, jobbing for people. And to hear like some of the talent that gets stuck in that system and can't get out, it's really sad, honestly.
And Mickey's the perfect example, because look at her comeback in NXT when she fought Oscar for that one match. That was an amazing match, and she never got to shine like that. Even though she lost, she never got to shine like that when she came back to the main roster.
You guys weren't captivated when she was calling Alexa Bliss biscuit butt.
right. To me, it's like, dude, she's a 6-time champion. I think there's only maybe 3 other women that have held the title 3 times, I think, or 6 times: Trish, Charlotte, and Sasha. And then there's Mickie. So it's like they never treated her like the accolades she carries. And I think that's a problem. They don't respect the history they build themselves sometimes. And I think we should probably just get into the third topic.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I wanted to say about it was Tony Khan having as much fun as what he's doing. It shows in the promo, and it shows in the wrestlers that we've talked to that's worked there. We just talked to somebody who said that, and it's something that's mirrored by every wrestler that we've talked to that's worked for AEW on AEW Dark or Elevation, that it's a family down there, that they make it seem like a family, and that they just, it's a fun environment, and they can go down there and learn and have a great time.
And there's freedom to be who they are. They're not packaging them up.
I just read yesterday on PW Insider, they were talking about why aren't any AEW wrestlers jumping to WWE, and it's number one because of contracts, but they said number two, every person we talk to in AEW is having too much fun there. They're enjoying what they're doing and getting to be free with creative and getting things over.
You think Mark Henry didn't go there because the Big Show told him he was having a good time?
Oh yeah, Mark Henry came out and said one of the 2 major reasons, one, Big Show talking about that, about how the backstage environment versus WWE, and also Mark Henry wanted to have a stake in the company, not a stake in the company monetarily, but he wanted to contribute. He wanted to, really be active in the behind the scenes. And I think that was a genius pickup by AEW. The guy is a killer scout. He scouted some of the best talent for WWE.
Bianca Belair.
Yeah, that's
solely responsible for being there.
yeah, Mark Henry is a phenomenal scout. He's a phenomenal teacher. I think he's going to do great as an analyst, but I think everything else that he brings to the table is where you're really going to see it. I think all of those rules that people bitch about AEW, you know, the referees not being on their shit, those are the things that I think Mark Henry and people like him and Big Show can come in and tighten the screws on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's probably time we just move straight into the next topic. We've already alluded to it quite a few times, but let's get right into it. So who should AEW sign first out of today's releases? Because we had a lot of releases today, a lot of surprising, shocking releases.
There's two guys that stand out to me, and Aleister Black is one, and Buddy Murphy was stealing the show on a pre-show on pay-per-views for a whole year when he was the Cruiserweight champion. Like, those guys would be a tremendous addition. I can't pick between the two because I think they both would just help solidify it and just have great matches with so many other people on that roster.
I think Ruby Riott, man. I mean, I would love to see Aleister Black in AEW with total freedom. He is by far my number one pick. I think the guy has a mind for his character, and he was never, I mean, this Dark Father character with I thought those vignettes were badass.
It was going to be awesome, man. I was so pumped for him to be back.
I mean, the
Me too.
glasses, he had the serial killer glasses and everything. I was so stoked on that. But I think Ruby Riott was someone who could really bring something to their division. I thought the times that she would have those 10, 12-minute matches, maybe a couple years ago, they would put her out there. She was killing it. She's a
badass.
worker.
She's a fighter.
She was great on the indies.
Yeah, Heidi Lovelace, she's already got the character built in. Then Aleister Black, he can just go back to being Tommy End. So I think he's an instant main eventer if he goes down there. I'm a huge Buddy Murphy fan as well, but I think AEW already has, a dozen guys that are similar to Buddy Murphy with their character basically just being badass workers. I would really like to see Braun down there. I think Braun would be something different, I think you could bring him in as a big heel. As a heel to, play on, again, the smart audience of AEW. I feel like they're naturally going to want to boo him, let him be a henchman for somebody, and don't have him doing the goofy shit that he was doing that, kind of turned him off for most of us older wrestling fans. Have him go back to being that guy who was, turning over ambulances on Roman Reigns and stuff like that. I think with, AEW likes to do the old school angles. I think Braun would really fit in well and present something a little bit different down there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think my pick was going to be Braun Strowman as well, and that's the reason. I think it would be a lot of fun to see him. Tom, you keep making this face.
Tom, what's the face, man?
I just can't.
I can't even get a thought out because I keep looking in the bottom left corner of his face, and this face is in 8K now.
It looks
You
like
gotta see beyond how WWE's used in time. We're talking about the best version of Braun Strowman going down to AEW, not the the guy that we've seen week in and week out for the last year.
not the
You're right. They've just turned me
AEW's not
so
giving
off.
him choo-choo train noises, so
They just turned me off to him so bad. I need a break from him for a while. Maybe that'll do it. Just cleanse my palate, but he actually came out and said today that he doesn't want to work for a company.
Really?
Yeah. Mick Foley was tweeting about that after I guess Braun tweeted it, and Mick's like, I hope he doesn't stick to that because this guy has a lot to offer.
What?
But he said he's never working for a company again. So
I think Strowman, he's a once in a lifetime physical specimen as far as his size. Now, when he was pushing Reigns off of, in the gurney off the loading dock and shit like that, dude, I was all in for that. When he was,
when he was feuded with Brock at first, like 2017, Braun was awesome, but they just, like they've done so many times over the last few years, they waited until he cooled off a little bit before they finally pulled the trigger on, giving him the big push. And that's what turns people off. Like he was red hot. People were dying for him to beat Brock Lesnar. I think that was at No Mercy 2017 when they fought for the Universal Belt. And I mean, people were dying to see Braun beat him. And of course, Brock went over because that's what Brock does.
He was getting major pops when he would do the "I'm not through with you."
Yeah.
I mean, I was so into that.
yeah, that was a lot better than Get These Hands.
But yeah, once he won the titles with the little kid, I mean, come on, that was an awesome experience for that little kid. But that was the end. He started doing like mobile tea commercials and shit. I was like, oh, he's done.
Yeah,
he's in Big Show territory now. He's not going to be the big scary monster anymore.
No, I think he was marketed almost exclusively towards kids like the last
Yeah.
couple years.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
really just a character for the kids.
Yeah, the
But-
problem to me, I thought he should have just been used as a special attraction and not used all the time like he was. You know, he was great in a Wyatt family because he wasn't wrestling every week. He was do his thing when he got to do his thing, and it was fun. Then they just started shoving him down our throats, and it was just like, oh.
He
Like-
would be fun. I mean, his size, if you brought him in as just a monster heel in AEW and he just comes in, that would be fun. But I wonder if you remember, you know, he came out today, Tom, you said he doesn't want to work for a company. I wonder if that has anything to do with him having all those tweets maybe about a year and a half ago where he's shitting on independent wrestlers.
Yeah, I think
through
it was
Twitter.
Evil Uno specifically, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was going
Yeah.
after Evil Uno, and so I'm wondering if AEW, I mean, if they're smart, business is business. You sign who's going to make you money. But I wonder if there is a little bit of that, like you were shitting on the community that pretty much builds AEW. So I wonder.
Just imagine the heat, him showing up down in AEW and, you know, manhandling somebody like Jungle Boy. You know what I mean? Attack
Oh.
Luchasaurus from behind and then just beat the shit out of Jungle Boy. Can you imagine how much
So
the fans are
good.
going to see? I mean, they might storm the ring, man. It might be old school 70s Southern wrestling, man. He might get
Yeah.
stabbed if he did
Yeah.
that, man.
You're not
So
wrong.
I'm just thinking, it's pissing me off right now, and I'm the one fantasy booking it in my mind. Man.
Yeah, it's so true.
Dude, after seeing the pop that Jungle Boy got, the way the crowd was, dude, if he would come in,
Nuclear
and-
heat.
Oh my God, the crowd
Nuclear
would
heat.
storm. They would rip the barricades down.
Yeah, they would. But I'm with you though, Seth, on your Buddy Murphy comment. Like, I love Buddy Murphy. I think he's almost like a new Kenny Omega Pac type of character.
Yeah.
Like, he's got that style to him. But like you said, he doesn't stand out. He's just going to be another guy in AEW. I would like to see him either take some New Japan matches or go to an Impact. You know,
Yeah,
Impact
I was
doesn't
thinking he could
guys.
have like a Rich Swann type run on Impact. You know what I mean? There's no reason once this Kenny belt collector thing runs its course, I could totally see Buddy Murphy be an Impact champ. You know, let him
100%.
get established as a top guy and then come over to AEW.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
Yeah, that's a solid point.
What do you guys think of like Lana coming? Do you think she joins Miro, or do you want Miro to stay by himself? Or
I think
she
she's
was
definitely got to
over.
get involved with him. You know, yeah, she's definitely been over. She still gets big pops from, or she was getting big pops from the WWE audience prior to, you know, the whole pandemic and everything taken away. So I know her segments with Bobby Lashley, they were horrible. I didn't like them, but they were, you know, according to Dave Meltzer, they were consistently the highest rated segments on Raw when they were doing that whole marriage
Wow.
gimmick. Yeah, I could totally see her coming in, you know, let him run with the TNT belt for a couple months. And then when it's finally looks like he's going to lose it, who comes in and interferes to help him retain one more time, you know, and have CJ Perry show up. I'm assuming
Yeah,
she's going to
that-
want to go by her real name.
because people forget, I think, like, man, when the Russian gimmick was in full swing, before people knew they were married, she was killer, dude.
Oh, yeah.
On the mic, got nuclear heat. She was just great at what she did. And I even the Bobby Lashley shit, I hated that storyline. But when she was on the mic, she's been good on the mic. You know, she's not a in-ring wizard, you know, when she's in matches, but I think she's money, man, on the mic. If she came, like you said, Seth, if she would come out and interfere and let him retain that title, people would lose their shit.
I mean, can you imagine if, you know, Miro's in a match and Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford come out to try to
Screw
him over, and then out from the back, here comes Lana or CJ Perry
Oh,
coming out.
man.
She
Yeah.
becomes his valet again with he's the beast, she's the beauty. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can see it.
Who else is who? I know there was Santana or what was her name? Santana Garrett.
Santana Garrett, which, yeah, you know, all respect to her, but for 500, I probably couldn't have told you with 100% confidence if she was WWE or AEW this morning if you'd asked me. You know?
Right, yeah.
I think I remember seeing her in like the Mae Young Classic a couple times and like a few NXT squash matches. I thought there was one more. I thought it wasn't 6 people. I thought it was Aleister Black, Braun Strowman, Buddy Murphy,
Ruby Riot.
Ruby Riot, Lana. Yeah, I guess that was it. Ruby Riot, Lana, and Santana. Yeah. So for me, I want to see Braun down in AEW just to see what that would look like. That's my answer out of those 6.
Wow.
Who's your top pick, Sneed?
I think my
Is it
top
Braun?
Braun would be my top pick to go. I would like to see I'd like to see somebody go to NWA. I would just like to
Buddy
see
Murphy and NWA.
Buddy
I'd like
Murphy
to
would
see
be a
Buddy-
fit
Rocking the
there.
NWA hat tonight.
right.
Yeah, man.
Love
And I-
NWA.
And I would love to see somebody go down there and just elevate that show. I love NWA so much. And I love what they were doing before the pandemic. I loved when they came back, but they just need something. And I think this could be, they could take a couple of the guys that got released and really elevate their product.
Yeah, I hope they get, if not from this group, the group that was released post Mania, like around April, they need to pick up a couple people because they are they're shallow.
It's
In
shallow.
roster. They need some
Yeah.
variety. I'm gonna say Aleister Black 100% for me. I think he's such a different character to see, and I would love to see how they packaged him, knowing that they're going to let him do his thing. Who do you guys think he could feud with out of the gate? Like if he would.
I think Kenny Omega, man. I think he's instantly in the main event if he is there. I think he's right back to being in how he was in NXT, where he's like one of the final boss characters in the whole company. So
Yeah.
I don't think he needs much work, because even he wasn't getting used, but when he was on screen in WWE, he was for the most part winning. Like they always booked him strong when they actually used him. It's just for whatever reason they soured on him and he was just off TV for a year.
How
Yeah, he
crazy
said-
is it that, sorry to cut you off, Tom, but how crazy is it that he just interrupted a match with Big E?
Big E's
And
never going to have a chance to get revenge, man.
Right? Like, they have all these kick-ass promos, and then he finally shows up, thrusts himself into a program with Big E, and then what, 4 days later, he's shit canned?
Yeah, that's
No,
what
it
really
was
makes you
actually-
think these sale rumors are true, man. Because like it makes no sense. Same thing with Braun. Like just look at how much they have invested in him in TV time and everything over the past 4 years. It's crazy.
Wasn't he in the
that
main
released
event
him.
a month ago?
He
The last
fought for the
pay-per-view.
championship. Yeah, he fought for the
The last
championship last
pay-per-view.
month. The last WrestleMania, he beat Goldberg. Like, yeah, I mean they've used this guy nonstop as one of the top guys, and then he's just gone out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is
And the thing
crazy.
with Aleister Black was his coming out and interfering in the match wasn't even this past Friday. It was the Friday before. So they didn't even have him on TV the following week. So it makes you think, did they know this was coming? But listening to Aleister Black talk today on Twitch, he said the opening, his entrance was amazing. His new entrance that they had set up for him. And he's so
We'll never get to hear
disappointed.
it.
He said nobody will get to hear it. Nobody will get to see it. Hopefully he could incorporate it, when if he comes over to AEW. But I was reading online, people want to see him go to the Dark Order and kind of become their leader. What do you think of that?
I want him to be a big, evil, scary guy. I don't want him. Dark Order's too jokey. If they never turned comedy on BTE, and I love the comedy that they bring, but I just don't think that fits.
What if he straightens them out and gets them back to being the evil, dominant, kind of like
Now-
they were before?
Now, Alex Reynolds did say in a promo, like, we need to go back to our dark ways. If they started getting a little more dark and serious again, and they started talking about this new leader that we have, and he came out and they went full, like, dark father satanic group, I'm
He
like,
could drive Hangman out. Think about that for a first feud. Tommy End and Hangman Page.
wow.
Yeah.
wow.
See? Wow.
Yeah, that's a banger. Now, do you bring him in with Zelina, Thea Trinidad?
Now, see, there's the rumor she re-signed with WWE.
I
Supposedly
That would
she
be
was
the
down
most,
at the
that would
performance.
be the most WWE thing ever if they re-signed her to some kind of like
really
lead
would.
pipe lock contract, like with no escape clause, no nothing for like 6 years, and then the week later release Aleister Black. Man. Like
right.
that would be so WWE.
Oh God.
I mean, it would make WWE sense at this point. So
You can tell where their mind is just by, okay, they release Mickey James, they release Ruby Riott this round, and they sign Eva Marie. It's because she has followers. They're only doing it because of
Yeah.
like social
you're not
media
wrong.
presence.
You're not wrong.
The thing that's weird to me, so like, I'm a business major in college, so I'm not a total jabroni when it comes to this stuff. I feel like they're making so much money. I don't understand why, a handful of wrestler salaries would really make that big a difference if you're going to sell this international conglomerate, maybe
Right.
that makes me think like maybe like, underneath the surface, maybe they're not in as good as financial shape as we think they are. Because it seems like, looking from the stock price and all the profit reports, it seems like they're doing better than ever financially. But it's weird that you would need to cut these guys, a handful of random rosters or random roster cuts just to make your sale a little bit more appealing. If that's really what's going on. It just
makes the profit margin look that much better by dumping those salaries, just like
And
combining the departments. Just like combining the departments they've done back behind the scenes over the last couple of months. They've saved a bunch of money that way. Their profit margin is going to look even better to a prospective buyer by just getting rid of some more salary. It's unfortunate because you're proven you don't care about in-ring talent because you've just gotten rid of some of the best in-ring talent you have that could have been better than most of the stuff you've been using that have just been sitting on the bench. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You had guys there that could have made your product better, but instead you chose, hey, let's just, pad the profit margin a little bit.
I think
something doesn't add up.
The moves are fishy. Like, all of their moves over the last year and a half, 2 years have been really like, what's going on here? What are you doing? Something doesn't seem right, because, they make these cost cuts and they're pulling these record quarterly numbers. But at the end of the day, it's like, dude, if you would put out a banger product that would get the fans who have turned away, like me and other fans that don't watch anymore, dude, they could be making so much more money if they just focused on good content, good week to week product,
quality product. That's how you're going to make the most money. Give people what they want to see.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, guys. Well, anybody have any final thoughts before we close it up?
Thanks for having me on again, guys. Hopefully, we can make this a regular thing. It was a blast as always. And I'll make sure Sheena doesn't big time you guys next time. She's on the hook for a episode of Turnbuckle Debate sometime soon.
Yeah.
Well, dude, you're always welcome. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
And Tom, this is the first time we've been on air together since you kind of formally joined the Pod Foundation. Prior to a couple of weeks back, you were like Brian Pillman with the Heart Foundation. You weren't really a member. You were kind of just an associate of the Pod Foundation. So we definitely want to welcome you aboard, man. It's awesome to have you aboard, and we wish you the best of luck with the new show.
Thanks, man. It's an honor to be here. I really appreciate it. I love the Pod Foundation. I love the Turnbuckle Tavern. I love all you guys. So it means a lot to be part of it officially now.
Hey, real quick for the two bad Chads, how far a drive is it from Nashville for you guys?
Is it
Nashville, 6
hours, maybe?
So, they're announcing this Saturday. There's rumors that SummerSlam may end up getting moved to Nashville. If that's the case, me and Sheena are definitely going to be there because where our parents live at in Kentucky, it's like an hour away. So that's easy. We can go home, visit family, and leave the kids with them, make a trip. So we're trying to talk. If it ends up happening in Nashville, I think we're going to have a little Pod Foundation meetup, man. So we're going to try to make it happen. So we'll see what happens this Saturday when they announce it.
Yeah, keep us updated. I would be all about that.
Too bad Chad's in Nashville with the Pod Foundation.
Nashville is a fun town, man. I think we can.
I have to make a trip.
Yeah,
I have to leave my basement.
I think we're planning all out. I think we're going to do Chicago in September.
That'd be awesome too.
Yep. But yeah, keep us updated, man. Let us know, and we'll make the meetup happen.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this week. Seth, again, thanks for coming on. We always love having you on. Tom, man,
get your shit in, man.
Braun Strowman.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the OG Fig Kid and watch for Wednesday the Turnbuckle Sessions with Sam Roberts.
Man, it's so different seeing Tom in this light. Look at him.
I know.
The tribal chief of the Pod Foundation, man. 8K.
I'm the head of the tavern. Just kidding. That's not becoming a thing.
I'm gonna cut you off right there. Court is dismissed.